Let's talk about some of the key differences between writing a video script and writing website copy. The biggest difference between writing a video script and writing website copy is that video scripts are meant for the spoken word. You have to write that much clearer, that much more concise. You have to use smaller words and less complex sentences. And that's a big change for many writers. So there are 4 things that I want you to be thinking about when you're either writing or editing a video script. The first is your word choice. This is extremely important. One of my biggest pet peeves, just to point out an example, is when people use the word utilize. Because utilize is 3 syllables, and the alternative is use, 1 syllable. Think about how that sounds different, how the extra time that's added to that sentence makes the sentence more complex for someone who's hearing it to understand. Because we hear things much more slowly than we read, and we can't go back and listen to it again without rewinding. So you have to be using the simplest words possible so that your message can be as clear as possible. Now, the second thing I want you to really think a lot about when you're writing or editing a video script is how complex the sentences are. A standalone sentence that doesn't have a comma, right? It's like a standard simple sentence. Then you have what's called a compound sentence, which is clause and then some sort of modifier like an and or a but or a so or yet or because, and then another clause. That's about the limit at which your sentence can be complex. If you start creating what are actually in grammar known as complex sentences, multiple commas, ellipses, em dashes, those sorts of things, it adds too much complexity to the sentence for a listener to understand and comprehend. Which brings me to the third thing, which is that you're gonna need to use a lot more transitions when you're writing for audio than when you're writing for the web. Because on the web, every paragraph break helps people understand that there's a transition in ideas. But when you're doing it with audio, there are no paragraph breaks that are apparent to a listener or a viewer of the video. So instead, you have to provide those transitions more regularly. And when you think about it in real life, people start sentences with and, so, yet, and but all the time. So don't be afraid to start your sentences in a video script with words like and, but, or so. Because while your English teacher might yell at you, the fact of the matter is that's how people talk. And your video script should sound authentic and natural. Now, the 4th thing you need to do when you're writing any video script or editing a video script is you have to read it out loud. And this is a skill in and of itself. You have to know how to read punctuation, and you have to know where to put the vocal intonations and pauses. So if you're not a very confident reader out loud to begin with, you should probably find someone to help you evaluate scripts or write them for you. One of the things that you need to be able to do when you're reading the script is you need to hear it the way that your viewers can hear it. If you just edit it the way that you would write, then you're gonna start creating these little speed bumps or disconnects or opportunities where maybe if I put a comma here instead of over here, it might be grammatically correct, but it's not gonna make sense to a viewer. Once they hit play, they're on railroad tracks until they decide to stop. That's one of the hugest advantages that video can bring to your team. But if you have those speed bumps, you just created a logical disconnect for someone and a reason for them to reevaluate if they want to watch your video at all. So the 4 key differences between writing a video script and writing web copy are you need to use simpler words, you need to use simpler sentences, you need to include more transitional words and phrases, and lastly, you need to read it out loud the way a voiceover artist would read it to make sure that there are no speed bumps. If you want to create more effective scripts for your business, download our free guide on video scripting templates. If you have any questions or you want to talk more about the differences between scripts and website copy, let us know in the comments below. And last but not least, if you want more video marketing tips, just go ahead and subscribe.